Good morning to all of you. Welcome back to the Namaste Village morning session, the Namaste experience. And we are so happy that you could join us on this beautiful Tuesday. It's a little chilly. I'm trying to dress more and more like Vicky dresses. She's always dressed up in very warm white outfits, so I'm wearing my little hooded white outfit today. Yes, it's a little bit chilly. I see some of you are all blanketed or sweatshirted, and but we are warm inside, aren't we? And for that we rejoice, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Rejoicing, because this is the season for rejoicing. That's what the Christmas season is all about. That's what winter solstice is all about. Rejoicing that we have begun a movement in the direction of light. We've begun a movement toward the brightest light of the year and the brightest light that's within each one of us. And that's the movement that we share here every day. We come here to join, and in joining, we amplify that light. Last night, I was having a phone conversation with Vicky, and one of the things that we shared that I thought had great relevance to this morning's session is that no matter what storm may come, when we realize that the light is within, we're able to endure it all. There is no storm that can dim that sacred light that's within each one of us. And it is for this that we rejoice. And one of the things we're going to be doing for those of you who are on Zoom at the end of session for the next 12 days, Vicki is going to hang out and she is going to do a little thing each of the 12 days for the 12 days of Christmas as we rejoice even deeper. Okay? So I want to begin by sharing just a paragraph here from A Course in Miracles on that one word. A lot of times before session, what I'll do is I'll go to a particular website where it does a search. You can put one word and it shows every place that that word shows up in A Course in Miracles. So I'll put the word rejoice, and oh, this is good. So let me begin with this. I love this first question. Do you not want to know your own identity? Don't you really want to know who you are, who you really are? Beyond all of these definitions, beyond all of these ideas and concepts, your history, all of it, to know who you really are, your true identity? Would you not happily exchange your doubts for certainty? I would. To be certain of who you are, to be certain that you are the holy, perfect child of God, complete and healed and whole. Not just believe that, not just have a mental concept, but as we talk about so often here, to have a direct and holy experience of that, to have such a concrete, grounded experience that no doubt can enter in, no matter what shakes and spins around you. You know who you are. And knowing who you are, you see that everywhere. You choose to see that in everyone, especially those who sometimes it is hardest to see. That's the work. But that's where the real juice is as well. So once again, would you not happily exchange your doubts for certainty? Would you not willingly be free of misery and learn again of joy? These are funny questions because, of course, the answer is yes. Yes, of course, that's what I want. But sometimes we have to become conscious because unfortunately, in our egoic frame, we are so accustomed to unconsciously choosing the opposite of that that we don't even realize we're doing it. So when these questions are asked directly and we answer them directly, saying, yes, this is what I want, more than anything, more than everything, then that comes to you easily. Okay, so once again, would you not willingly be free of misery and learn again of joy? Your holy relationship offers this to you. And we're not talking about a holy relationship with another person. That may be part of it. That may be an aspect of it, but there's only one real holy relationship, and that is the one that you share with you, with a capital Y, which is the same as saying what you share with God. But we can't continue to put God out there like there is a God that one day I'm going to have this relationship with. There is no such thing as a deity outside of love itself. Love itself is what God is. There is no deity or God outside of you because you are what love is. You're the very essence of that. All you need to do is to realize that and then rejoice in that. Okay. As it was given you, so will be its effects. And as its holy purpose was not made by you, the means by which its happy end is yours is also not of you. The means through which this happens does not happen because of anything you do. Did you hear that? There's nothing you can do to make this happen. Why? Because it already happened. It's already true. We're going to go into that in a little bit here. Rejoice in what is yours, but for the asking. Rejoice in what is yours, but for the asking. All this is given you who would but see your brother and your sister as sinless. That's all you have to do is give up all judgment and choose to see everyone as God sees them, as love sees them, as holy, as perfect and whole. Now that's something to rejoice in. All this is given, waiting on your desire, but to receive it. Vision is freely given to those who ask to see. Vision is freely given to those who ask to see. I love that. You know, last night when Vicki and I were talking, the subject of Dick Van Dyke came up. You may or may not know that Dick celebrated his 99th birthday about 3 days ago. And you may also have seen a wonderful music video, a Coldplay. If you haven't seen this, when you're done here, go Google Coldplay Dick Van Dyke. Oh my gosh. The Coldplay has a new song, I've given you all my love, something like that. All my love. And the video, because apparently Chris Martin just lives down the street from Dick in Malibu and just loves him. Apparently, he says he's seen Mary Poppins thousands of times with his kids. And so they made a video with Dick with this song, and it is delightful because it's just Dick Van Dyke rejoicing and being silly and dancing and having just such a best time at 99 years old. And it opens up that space within all of us that just says, yes, this is what it's all about, to see that joy reflected in him. You know, I'm often reminded, I mentioned this, I've said this probably several times here during the sessions, but maybe you haven't heard it, so I'll say it again. Probably, I would say definitely, the worst English accent on film ever was Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins. Just horrible, just terrible. And yet, can you imagine anyone else ever playing that role? Playing the role of Bert? Of course not. He was fantastic. A terrible accent, but oh my gosh, just so delightful. You know, as someone said last night, and actually someone said this at dinner last night, and then Vicki said it last night as well. The only other person may have been Danny Kaye. Do you remember Danny Kaye? Because that same joy, that same effervescence and delight emanates from him as well. But this is such a beautiful lesson in the imperfect perfect. Imperfection in the perfect. Because Dick Van Dyke was perfect, even though his accent was terrible. And for every single one of you, you've lost your heavenly accent. You know, you were born, you were completely raised in heaven. And just like someone who was raised in another country, they come into this country and they sometimes they'll lose their accent. Well, you lost your accent, but you can get it back. And the way that you get back your heavenly accent is by hanging out in heaven. Just return, go back to that. Go back to heaven, and the accent will return, and it won't be terrible. It'll be great. So it was fun to talk about that, to think about that. And I do recommend that you go see that Coldplay video because it will just make your day. How many of you have seen it already? Yes, a lot of you have already seen it. It's so beautiful. Just put Coldplay Dick Van Dyke, it'll show right up. And when it does, when you begin to remember this and rejoice in this, and the experience just overwhelms you, the experience of your own holiness, you'll be able to say with complete certainty, I am the holy, perfect child of God, complete and healed and whole, shining in the reflection of God's love. In me is God's creation sanctified and guaranteed eternal life. In me is love perfected and fear impossible. I am the holy home of God. I am the heaven where God's love resides. I am God's holy sinlessness itself, for in my purity abides God's own. To say those words and to mean them. You see, so often we've been told to act as if that's true. I'm not saying for you to act as if that's true. I'm saying to know that it is true. Do you feel the difference? If you're acting as if something true, underneath that act or that action is the concept that it's not true. The thought that it's not true. I'm acting as if it's true, but it's not really. And maybe if I act as if it's true long enough, that experience will never come. Know that it is true. Know that you are the holy, perfect child of God. Know that you are shining in the reflection of God's love right now. That's all. And then you'll be like Dick Van Dyke, just dancing away, smiling and singing and rejoicing, because this is the season to rejoice. So that's what we're all about today and always. So Vicky, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you take it whichever direction you want.
Okay, Brother James. Well, we've got good time. First, I want to
Hold on,
say,
Vicky.
okay,
We can't hear you. This volume button's not working. There we go. Come on.
okay.
Okay, go ahead, Vicky.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome. And I always say this at the end, but I love you all. I thank you all for being here and for joining in this time of rejoicing. Even in the traditional church, this is the time where joy is like a crescendo, that it's called, in fact, laudate, which is praise to God this season, because the light is coming. It's coming even in the earth, with the sun finally turning the point of darkness and opening up to greater light on the 21st. But it's the simplicity of rejoicing, not in what we are looking at always, but in what deep within us we know to be so. There are many paths to finding the truth inside of us. Some are very sober paths. Some are very somber paths. Some you do go meditate for years in caves, but somehow, by the grace of the Holy Spirit and God, we have been given a path of joining and awakening through celebration. Somehow it's become our bottom line, and I am so grateful for it. So I was very excited talking to James last night about Mary Poppins, because, and of course, Dick Van Dyke. In the interview with Chris Martin, Jimmy Kimmel did an interview. He says it was the pinnacle of his career. It was the thing he would like to be remembered for. And not because of his accent or his dancing. By the way, He wasn't a trained dancer. He was just being himself, kind of lanky and all over the place, just as we are just being ourselves wherever we are. But the point of it was that the story carried the essence of who he was. He said, I got to be myself. I got to be playful and silly. I would do it for no money because it's already what I love to do. Right there is the gem, the key. What would you do for no money, no recognition, nobody else knows, but you must do it? Do you need to go sing a song? Do you need to write a song? Do you need to dance? Do you need to plant a flower, write a book? What do you cook? I'm making baklava and I'm back in the kitchen. I said, oh, I do like this. I like this cooking. But what is it we do that is all of a sudden it's a match for our energy? What I remember, I went and my father, Louis, was a wild guy. And one day he was ironing because I've always worn whites. And he wouldn't let me leave the house, go, we had a restaurant, go to the restaurant without being starched and white. And I said, Daddy, I didn't know you liked to iron. I try to buy iron-free clothes, you know, that you don't have to iron. He said, Kid, I hate to iron. But when I iron, I love to iron. And he meant it. And he said it about other things he did too. When I iron, I love to iron. And if you don't love what you do, better that you go back to bed. Get out of here. And he meant it. When we do what we love, or we love whatever it is we're doing, I'm going to come back to Mary Poppins, Spoonful of Sugar. Most of us know that song. It's with a spoonful of sugar that the medicine goes down. When we find the joy, the fun in anything, and it's all around us, not because it's out here, but because it's already in here. And when we find it, everything explodes with it. We are in a season of rejoicing because rejoicing in who we are is now on the surface of our minds. We're not believing from afar. We're witnessing and participating from very close, from right here where we are. For me, the story of Mary Poppins and the efforts, and there was a movie done about Walt Disney looking for the author and trying to get the rights. If you never saw a spiritual practice, you never did anything, of course, in Miracles, Unity, Joel Goldsmith, Advaita, anything, you never did anything, and you only watched Mary Poppins, and you watched it with an open heart and an open eye, all of the secrets of awakening, even the names of the songs are right there. Stay awake. Stay awake. Don't go to sleep. Stay awake. Stay awake to the promptings of love. Whatever you're doing, find the fun in it, no matter what it is. Whatever is coming down the pike for us, we don't need to do a search and rescue project to find ourselves. All we have to do, surrender what we think, give up, let everything go, surrender what we think we know, and be open to present joy. This is that season. So, of course, Dick Van Dyke won the award for Chim Chim Cheree. And here he is he plays many roles, which is typical. First, he sings songs. He's a sidewalk Sam artist. He can do all kinds of things, but his favorite is being a chimney sweep, which is the lowest level of work you can get in not just in England, but in general. And he finds the joy in it. There's one line, good luck will come. I don't remember the line exactly, but good luck will come to you when you shake hands with a sweep. What is shaking hands with a sweep? I see you nodding. It's joining. When you join with someone who knows that joy is already what they are, whether they sweep out chimneys, clean toilets, or they sit at a palace luncheon being served, you find the pearl of great price. You find the light that is within you. So and then watching him dance, who's not a dancer, watching him sing in his crazy accent. But what are we witnessing? We're witnessing authenticity. When you watch Dick Van Dyke, you see Christ. You see a living Christ celebrating in every scene that he does. One of the best scenes also is the laughing scene. I just want to get a few of these in. The laughing scene, right? Where they go to visit his uncle and he levitates because he's happy, because he's laughing. That's all we have to do. Don't worry about the storms in your life. The storms are going to come. They need to come. The storms of all our lives need to come because they break down the old belief system. It's as simple as that. The idea that we believe it's a storm is a belief. That's why we can heal the sick and raise the dead. They were all beliefs that aren't true. And we might have to face a lot of death and a lot of storms. But if we don't try to run in and fix it and change it, but we use vision, this is holy vision, and we see that we are not the storm, that there's an essence of life and love that's just busting out all over, then the storms will pass because we're not holding on to them. We're not solving them and fixing them and figuring out which way to go. We're watching them saying, this is a grateful heart. This is an awakened heart saying, thank you, thank you, thank you that the old is passing and the way is open for present love. Let it be open in me. Let everything be open. What
I'll get it back.
in Tuppence, care for the little birds. It's in the caring that we are cared for. So I just really had to give my blessing and my gratitude. The ones that wrote the songs were called the Sherman Brothers. They were two brothers that worked for Walt Disney, and they wrote songs for many of the Disney movies. But these brothers were also enlightened. They could not have written songs like this unless they had the truth inside of them. The knowledge and the experience of who we are is grounded in us when we step back from appearances and from what our understanding would make of appearances. Our understanding is upside down and backwards. That's why the levity, when we laugh at everything, because it isn't so, not that we don't have compassion for ourselves and those who are experiencing things. The compassion is most important because that's the moment where we truly connect with love within ourselves, with the love that we share, not the circumstances that seem to be arising. Those are the storms. Let those storms go. Healed vision sees past the storm to the enlightenment at hand, not later, but right now, and rests and stays awake in that. So I've watched it already several times, many times, and I listen to the words and all the songs. Um, the Oh my gosh, just every single one of them. And the Sherman Brothers, they had that joy in them. That's why it came out, not just in Mary Poppins, but in every movie. And for us, this is the season when much of the world is geared to seeing the light and welcoming the light, not in cherishing the dark and lamenting it. Lamenting the dark sustains it. Cherishing the light, being receptive, being willing, letting go of our laments and our regrets. Just let them pass by. Don't repress them. Let them pass by. Allows the light to dawn in us. Find the fun in everything because it isn't everything, because our DNA is joy. It's love. Love, only God, only now. It's in already. We don't have to invent it. There's no reinventing a wheel here. It's just letting it break through. So, sorry, I see the time. Go ahead, Calico.
Well, I'm not sure if Calico is already coming down or not. Calico, if you are there, go ahead and chime in.
I am here and I'm just now leaving. And I just have to say, I love this Mary Poppins thing. Yeah, you know, it's we all have the light in us. Every single one of us has the light in us. And it's whether or not we are willing to follow the guidance to let it out. I just had a conversation with someone I haven't seen in about 8 years. And she was back when we had a lot of conversations about this 8 years ago, and she couldn't get it. She was just frustrated that she couldn't see it. And she sent me this message. It's like she finally got it. Oh, it's not out there. And I thought, yeah, exactly. But you know, how many times do we have to hear that before we acknowledge it? However many times it takes. And it's just, we're all in whatever process we're in. And you know, it's guaranteed we're all going to wake up. Jesus said we're all going to wake up. And it's just when you're ready. That's all I know. Thank you so much, Vicki. I was 13. It was my 13th birthday when Mary Poppins came out, and my father took me down to a big theater in Chicago to go see Mary Poppins. It's one of the few times I remember my father taking me someplace by myself. And it was so special. So thank you for the memories. They're all very fond.
Yes. Oh man, I think we all have fond memories of Mary Poppins, don't we? Yeah. We should watch that again. Is that on their list coming up?
Put it down.
Let's put it on the list. I think we need a good dose of Mary Poppins here. And in order to close this meeting, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna turn the camera around. That's okay. And I'll just unplug this. And we're gonna sing together. Okay, let's see if I can get this right. So you can all see our Namaste family here. Ready? I love to laugh long and loud and clear. I love to laugh. It's getting worse every year. To that we say, Amen, Amen,
And
Amen.
amen. Y punto.
Have a great day, everyone.
And if any of you want to stay, we're going to do 10 minutes, 12 days of Christmas together. We'll find out what that means.
Yes,
Thank you,
hang out if
Jane.
you'd like on the Zoom room. I'm going to stop the recordings. So goodbye to all of you who are watching this on YouTube.